Welcome back. We got the Columbus Bluejackets. I believe it's a silent J. Just like yogging. Made the playoffs, but got turned on so fucking fast by the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. Not even funny. They went up 2-0, and Washington kind of just said, "Hey, fuckhead, I'm giving you a swirly, and it starts now. Game 3.
That
Boom.
was
Swept them.
such a big swing that I did not see happening
Like, holy
whatsoever.
smokes.
And they won both games in Washington.
Yes.
So Washington
Um,
went on the road, beat Columbus twice, and then went back home to get another dub, and then finished the series off in Columbus.
yeah, just like a shot to the nads. Going up 3-2 and then going, hey, we're going to knock you out. You can take this check and go bye-bye. Columbus, that close to taking out the Stanley Cup, the eventual Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah.
Finished the year 97 points, like we've always said. Around 100 points, get you in that playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this. I think there's a lot more teams under the 100 point plateau in the East than there is in the West.
Yeah, because the Leafs, Tampa, and Boston are hogging all the points.
So, finish with 97 points. They go 26-12 at home. Very good.
Very impressive.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where was that in the
With
playoffs?
No, that was.
No, I'm saying, where was it?
Oh, where was that?
Yeah.
Honestly, bro,
How do you
the well just dried up on them.
How do you do that well throughout the season? Go basically 66% at home, and then choke in the playoffs and lose both. Lose three of 6 at home.
Yeah. And then they go just above 500, 19 and 18 and 4 on the away on the road.
Pretty standard.
I'm saying I think that's where a lot of teams can actually improve, and I know it's hard to do, is to actually get better on the road. I honestly do think that some players are much better at handling their preparations, whether they're on the road or at home.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of experience comes into play, and which kind of surprises me because it's not like Columbus is the youngest team out there. They're not the oldest.
No.
They're kind of like right in that middle gray area, which, to be honest, I thought they would have finished better than Philadelphia. Could tell you that for free.
Yeah, but I mean, for a 1 point difference there against the conference opponent, that just comes down to one game head to head, where if Columbus takes it, they're the ones in front.
Yeah.
Either way,
And
you
it's
face
also,
Pittsburgh and you're screwed. So.
And it's also, looking at Philly, they had 14 OT losses.
Yeah, that makes a big difference, man.
Yeah.
Pushing that game to past 60 minutes is just so crucial now that
even to get that 1 point.
It's not that it's a shame. I mean, I like watching overtime. And I like when, I'm watching a game and the Leafs are able to kind of steal one by just delaying the torture long enough. But now that the Leafs are better, I'm going to hate overtime. I'm going to want them to just win in regulation and not let the other teams get points, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that way. But, yeah, I mean, Columbus, man, past couple of years, they've turned it around.
I think they have a good goalie, a good coach.
They do,
and I think he's brought them a lot of stability in the dressing room.
And they keep signing him back,
which is totally fine. If something's working, why fuck with it?
Exactly. I mean, that's the only thing that I'll say is that things are working, but it seems like every end of year ends in like chaos for them. And that Tortorella is always, at the forefront and, screaming at somebody in the media, and just the seasons always end with a negative tone. And again, I'm sorry for always using the Leafs as a comparable, but that's the team I know. The Leafs lose in Game 7 to Boston. You would think it was the end of the world, but Babcock comes out, talks to the media, and he basically says, put your head down and come back next year ready to go.
Yeah.
And then you look at Columbus and you get a guy who just looks like he's steaming mad and he's pissed off and he's pissed at his players. He's pissed at, I don't know. I don't think that as a player I would respond well to how Tortorella coaches. But again, I
I
mean,
don't
he,
either.
he wouldn't have been that in the league this long if it didn't work for some guys, right?
No.
So hard to tell, but yeah.
Um, how do you see them finishing this year?
Playoff
Same
team,
thing?
playoff team.
Yeah, playoff team.
I might actually see them finishing higher up in the division. I think that Philly and Pittsburgh might take a step back to Columbus this year.
Okay.
I do. I know Pittsburgh has always been a big powerhouse. I think this year's the year where they're going to go below 100 points, and that's going to allow Columbus to kind of sneak on them and kind of make something happen there.
Well, I agree with you there. I do think Philly takes a step back, and I think Pittsburgh, they looked tired last year. You could see it definitely in the playoffs. I think they're a little bit more rejuvenated this year. They have a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their veteran guys are not getting any younger, especially going to the playoffs, 5-6 years in a row now, and winning in 2 of those years. It takes a major toll. I think Columbus does finish second or first even, battling it out with Washington. I think Washington's going to ride that high. They're going to be like, hey, listen, fucking Pittsburgh did it. We can do it. We can win 2 in a row. Let's get some swagger back. Let's fucking go. So, players.
I
led
want
by
to.
our boar, Al Gore. Led by Panarin man, Artemi Panarin.
Yeah.
Missed 1 game last year. A lot like McKinnon, just took their team and went, listen, guys, just hop on. We're going.
Yeah.
Don't miss out.
He was definitely a big part of that squad. Which is, I mean, every team has their go-to players, right? I think Columbus, they look a little bit deeper to me. When I look at
Yes.
the big picture of their roster, they look
Yes.
they're deeper. I mean, if you go down to almost like, what is this? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Almost 15 guys finished with over 20 points last year.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a sign of depth. I mean, as soon
Yep.
as you got a bunch of guys who are, in the 20 plus point mark, that means that they're doing their share of the work. And man, something that I noticed about Columbus more than the majority of teams is how they've gotten younger in age by, getting rid of, well, Matt Calvert, Ian Cole, not necessarily the oldest guys, but a Jack Johnson,
Yeah.
kick him to the curb. Thomas Vanek, gone. And now you bring in the younger faces. You bring in the Duclairs, who you love so much. You bring in the Riley Nash, young with speed compared to Vanek's old man legs, and Jack Johnson, who is made of wood. I think just that alone is going to be a recipe for success. So like you said, Panarin, Dubois, who had an amazing year last year. Cam Atkinson, who is still relevant.
Still kicking it.
Still relevant. 40 points, 65 games. Then you look at their depth. You got Bjorkstrand, Alexander Wenberg, Foligno, Boone Jenner. Like Dubinsky, if he's their third line center, that's not bad. That is not bad at all, man.
That screams depth.
And Riley Nash on your fourth line. I mean, in Boston, he had a bigger role than that.
And like you said, they've gotten younger, not just through drafting. They've made some pretty big plays. A few years ago, they got rid of Johansson and picked up Seth Jones, their top D. They needed a a core pillar on the back end. They got one in Jones. They
Injured
have one in
right
the
now.
making now with Werenski.
Jones is injured right now. I hope. I mean, I saw that he was going to be out for quite some time, huh?
Oh right,
He's going to be
yeah.
missing.
His knee, was it his
I
knee?
believe so, and I think he's going to be missing quite some time to start the season at least. And another guy who's injured, Ryan Murray. Um, another
Which is a huge,
big part of their
huge
roster. Yeah.
blow for them to have those two guys gone. Ryan Murray didn't throw up a massive amount of points, but
No, but he's
was a solid 5-6 D for them.
yeah, and like a guy that goes, he hovers over the in the positives for his plus
Yeah.
minus. He only played half the season last year, but still, I mean, he's still a big part of that defensive D um,
Mm-hmm.
core. So I don't know. I think they've improved enough where they'll be competitive again this year. They're expecting big things from them. Obviously, in net, Bobrovsky, Korpisalo.
Yep.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with that tandem there.
Yeah.
Korpisalo actually not that bad. I'm a fan of
Yeah,
Korpisalo.
great backup.
Yeah.
Great. Does his job. Comes prepared to the rink. I've sat down with him a few times now. We've had some lunches and dinners together. Good family friend. A friend of the show, actually. But moving on.
don't call that
I wanted to
a
bring
show.
up one stat that we might have overlooked
Stat
on
me.
Panarin.
Stat me right now.
Plus minus. When you look at a top player,
Mhm.
usually they score a lot of their points on the power play, so they don't get a plus or a negative because they don't really play PK as well. 23, bro, for Panarin. Plus 23.
Oh,
Led their team. Wenberg was second with plus 22. But
wow.
it kind of just goes to show that, hey, I can put the puck in the net, but I can also defend my own. And I think that's what makes him a great 200-foot hockey player.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the concern with him this year, contract year,
Mm.
Bobrovsky, contract year.
Mm-hmm. And Panarin has kind of come out and said, listen, I don't want to talk contract till the end of the year.
Which is fine. But
You
that
could
puts
take it
Columbus,
one way.
that puts them in a tough
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, you could take it one way and say, hey, listen, he wants to focus on this year, score as many fucking goals, and get this team a Stanley Cup. It also kind of says, like, hey, I'm not totally happy here.
It's not a great sign.
Huh?
It's not a great sign.
No, I might want to go somewhere else. I might want to go to a real, competitor.
And not only that, but if you're Columbus right now, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you go all in to win now for this year? Do you try to make a splash this year at free agency? Do you unload some cash, throw some cash at some available free agents who might be good rental players?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think that their window is open. I am a believer in windows. A great example of that is Chicago. They had a window. They made the most of it. Their window's shut real fucking fast.
Yeah.
From 3 years ago, going from first in your division to dead fucking last, it can close really fast on you. I would say yes, go all in now. But I think it starts with their two main guys they got to sign the offseason, Panarin and Bobrovsky.
That
100%. They got to somehow convince them, or even if they are even convinced right now, they just got to go, listen, guys, like, we want it now. We don't want to wait. We want to do it with you. And then it falls on the players. If they want to come back, amazing. If they don't, well, listen, that's their choice. They can do whatever they want. They're a free agent at the time.
Yeah,
So,
and to me, like that's the reason I say that is because I would be terrified of not going all in and having one or both of those guys say, I'm out,
just walk out the door.
and then being stuck in a situation where you're like, okay, well, we got half our roster who is kind of in place. We got like a deepish core, but we need, bigger names up front. We need, the back end is going to be strong for years to come.
Yes.
I wouldn't be worried about their back end. I think that on D they're fine. up front. Dubois is going to be a great piece for that team. Wenberg, great couple guys there. Cam Atkinson, though, might start dropping off. Foligno, who knows? Dubinsky, I don't know if he'll even be there in the next, 3-4 years. So that if you lose those main guys, you lose Panarin and Bobber.
Yeah.
You're digging yourself a hole.
You're yeah,
And if you lose them for nothing, you're worse off than you can
mhm.
ever imagine. So, and I don't see Columbus being in a situation by the deadline where they're saying, okay, well, screw it, we're just going to trade Panarin and Bob for picks or
Mhm.
whatever. Because I don't think that they're going to. I think they have good enough pieces. I actually think their pieces are too good to kind of fall off a cliff this year. So,
Yeah.
so
I
that's
honestly think you throw bags of money at both of them.
yeah. And
Uh,
bro, I mean, look at where they finished last year. Okay, same situation. Don't cheat. Same question as I asked you for Chicago. Um, where would you rank their? Where would you think their power play finished?
I would think it would be a little bit higher than Chicago, like 19th, 18th.
They finished 25th on the power play,
Oh,
and like that's the thing, man. You have these teams that look stacked and look like they could put on an amazing, top four forwards and their top D on a unit and get
hmm.
mad production out of them, and yet it's just not happening. And for them,
Well,
PK was also an issue. They
yeah.
finished 26th. When both special teams are not clicking, you can't win championships.
So furthering that, kind of going back to their plus minuses, they were a 5-on-5 team through and through. They had to be. It's the only way they could score goals, right?
Hmm.
So there you go. If they can improve their PP and PK, I again I stand by my uh, prediction of top, if not or second, if not top of their division.
Yeah, yeah. You improve both of those to even middle of the pack. And I think that's the difference between the Pittsburghs and the Phillies and the even
Mm-hmm.
the Caps. Those the power play percentage is a very big factor
Yeah.
in all that. So yeah, standout player time.
Standout player, make it or break it. I was gonna go with um, their rookie from last year. They drafted him third overall, I believe, in 2016. Pierre-Luc Dubois,
Hmm.
centerman. So right there, he plays a big role in the offensive and defensive zone. A lot of responsibility. Secondly, played all 82 games last year. Didn't miss one game, not to injury or being sat. So Tortorella and management rely on him. 20 goal marker, great. That's what you want. Any offensive player who can get 20 goals, I don't think you can ask for much more there unless you are an elite player like Panarin and you're looking at 25 to 35 goals each year. 28 assists, he could boost up a little bit. Good for 57 points, plus minus. He was a plus 10, only 30 penalty minutes. Or no, sorry, I'm reading Jones. 48 points, sorry, plus 8 and 49 penalty minutes. I'd like to see him reach the 20 goal plateau again.
Hmm.
I'd like him to reach the 35 assist plateau. And I just feel like keep continuing to grow as a person, as a player, reading the plays. I remember watching an interview. One of his first interviews, he was like, "I think I can skate with these guys. The one thing I need to change is my ability to read plays and know how much time I have with the puck,
Hmm.
and then get into that open area where the puck isn't." So for him, I think he has the smarts, he has the speed, he has the shot. Uh, he now has to put it all together and try and take some of the load off Panarin, um,
Hmm.
and have a good breakout year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
You?
think I think last year was a bit of a breakout year to get 20 goals. For me, I'm gonna go a little bit off the board here. A guy I've liked since the juniors,
Don't
Boone
tell me it's
Jenner.
Boone Jenner.
It's Boone Jenner, bro. I want Boone Jenner to hit the 20 goal mark. I want him to get 25 assists. I want him to be relevant. I want him to move up the lineup and replace Nick Foligno. Get Foligno's old ass out of here. Get Boone Jenner on that second line. Play him with young guys like Wenberg and Bjorkstrand. Get him out there, man. Give him the ice time. Let him prove himself.
Get the fuck out of here.
Big Boone Jenner. Let's go. That's what I want to see. And I'm hoping I see it.
All right. Well, if that's all we have for today, we're going to thank our one sponsor.
Boone Jenner.
It is not Boone Jenner. It is actually Netflix. Single-handedly helped keep Pampers, diapers relevant. All that Netflix and chilling.
What? Oh, my God.
Thank you, Netflix.
Why? Okay. Is it a sponsor or a shout-out?